Hey, how's it going, everybody? Couple weeks up until the World Championship in Dallas, but that doesn't mean that any of these teams are taking their time quietly. A lot of organizations as well as individuals after Gamers 8 continuing to showcase that they want to be involved in some capacity or, unfortunately, leave the space altogether. Today's video, we're going to be going over some Rocket League roster news, both organization side and individuals, and what better way to start it off than with one of the players who played incredibly well at the Gamers 8 event. Talking about Rezears and his performance altogether, filling in for Moxie, had a massive impact on the results of that tournament and decided to officially say, hey, now that the tournament's over, I'm happy to announce that I'm looking for a team. Whether it be Europe or North America, give me a tryout. My DMs are open. And rightfully so. Obviously, the preference is towards an organization, but a player that has shown a lot of talent. We talked about this on broadcast quite a bit on the B stream, as well as just in particular that these tournaments do provide a lot of opportunities for those on an individual level that if they can, as a fill-in, have a really solid performance, ones, twos, threes, or otherwise, that it may turn some heads and provide opportunity to get signed, and is always a tough situation. A lot of the times it is about who you know, and if the players at the high level are willing to give you a tryout or not. And not always is it the grind. Not always is it, hey, I do really well in six-mans, I do really well in ranked. Not always is that enough to get a tryout. So by having this level of performance, it is another way to say, hey, I'm going to turn some heads and hopefully I get some opportunities. And Rezears is one definitely deserving or has earned that opportunity. Also awesome to see now, not really a limitation of saying, hey, I'll go to Europe, I'll go to North America, whatever you want. Like, pick me up. I'm willing to. So Rezears, probably one of the best free agents alongside Cash from Europe, but the fact that now limitation to just Europe is pretty cool. So you should see where Rezears ends up going. And again, earlier to do it before the end. Try out as many as you can, look at as many opportunities. The only downfall is there's going to be a lot of changes post RLCS as well. So still a lot to kind of figure out and plug and play, as a lot of these top tier rosters that may not do well at the World Championship, maybe they don't make it through the wild card, are possibly going to look to make some adjustments, where I think Rezears could be a massive improvement. Over in Europe as well, 00 Nation ends up announcing that they have used Rocket League as a pillar of Nordavind, the previous organization before they came to be, and 00 Nation Esports leaving behind a 5-year legacy, including national titles, international appearances such as GFINDI Elite Series and RLCS. The best thing about this post is, even though it is a farewell, it does make it very easy to understand where their origins came all the way back in 2017 and up until 2021. Qualified for the RLCS, Nordavind being the previous team, and how they played, even some OG names like Reganam and otherwise. So you see the brief history of 00 Nation, but they are taking a step back. They do say that they're excited for the future, and this is the announcement of them releasing the roster of Breezy, Ethan, Hibbs, Flame, and supporting staff, but it is going to be a step back. Now, I don't know if this means that in the future they are going to be looking for a future team or not, but the one thing that they do not mention in this is Noasaki. Now, for those that don't know Noasaki was a last-minute fill-in and it ended up being the kind of hopeful solution for Heroic a while back, and was with Heroic for about a month and a half, roughly, before they ended up signing up as a last-minute with the team We Try Win, which was with Rai and Yukio. They ended up playing in Regional 3 close quals the very end for spring, so ended up not going. They got 9th to 11th. They were one game away from qualifying, actually, to top 16. So some pretty solid results, but overall just haven't really had any results. So Noasaki, according to reports from Shift, seems to be the 00 Nation next move, where they are going to try to take Noasaki because his results have been pretty dang solid and build upon it. Now, this isn't confirmed and we haven't seen anything specifically from 00 Nation, but according to the rosters and everything else, it does look like that may be the result. Maybe Noasaki has the ability to add some bidding power and say, hey, come try out with me on this team. I've got an organization already. Whether that'll be the way it plays out or not, I do not know, nor has it been confirmed. So, again, going to have to wait to see for official things, but if that is something that's being built around, this is not the first time. We even saw this with Beast Mode before he joined version 1, where Cloud9 approached him and said, hey, we're Cloud9, we're going to sign you. Build a team. We'll pay for it. So, things like that becoming more and more prevalent, where these young up-and-coming talent who have a ton of potential. Again, Rezears could be this option. You could see this with Cash. Maybe those three come together. Who the heck knows? But again, it is going to take some time to develop. But as of right now, it is not official, because I don't I don't 100%, even though Shift has a phenomenal track record, I'm not 100% on it until either 00 Nation or Nosaki is the one that announces it. So keep that in mind. But overall, potential next steps for 00 Nation and for Nosaki previous of the Heroic roster with Violent Panda and Yukio. Up next is WYLDE, a team that had a ton of potential way back, but has not really had the results ever since. For those that don't remember, back in 2021, I think it was March, they ended up picking up the former Denied roster with Billy, Chippy, and Justice with Face as coach. They were with them all the way up until July, and then they took a brief stint away until they came back in November, where they picked up the vibing roster of Spectre, Crispy, and Mingo. As that developed, they didn't really have the results to really support it. Across the board, multiple times where they got into the close qualifiers and they were starting to make it into the major events. But overall, I think there was only like 3 or 4 main events that they ended up making, and they got eliminated in last place, where they went 0-3. So the results are kind of that bubble team, kind of in that perfect mixture of like, hey, we've got some talent, but it's just not enough to get the wins against the best in the region, and are trying to build upon that. So overall, trying to get through the close qualifiers, get into the main event, haven't been able to do so. And they do have a couple wins here and there, but again, some of their notable results were against like SK Gaming, as well as losses to like Guild and Aogiri, things like that. So they were in the conversation, but just haven't been able to do it. And unfortunately, WYLDE does decide to release the roster officially. This ended up going down on July 13th, about a week ago, saying that we took time to help empower young talent throughout the season, helping them deliver and shine. And they say their thanks. They're looking to rebuild strong and return to 2022-2023 season with clear intentions, and show some highlights of the players. This seems to be the common thing, is if you don't have a team that is guaranteed like one of those, hey, we're going to make main event every single time and we're going to have results to do it, it does make sense on the business side of things for WYLDE to take a step back, see some of these new rosters forming, and then come in with a serious offer and try to support them. Because at the end of the day, it is business for a lot of these organizations. If they are providing salaries and funds, yes, you may be able to find a diamond in the rough, but it is probably better to go and make a serious offer with a team that you know has that potential. So gonna see WYLDE sit on and kind of take a back seat to this and see how it develops before they come in and try to make an impact again. Up next has to do with Karmine Corp, and talking about how their assistant coach, who has been present since the beginning of their Rocket League project, has always been a good rep, and are saying goodbye and thank you. If you're talking Francisco Gonzalez, and I'm going to butcher this name, Arlayobi, probably wrong pronunciation, has been a coach in the space for a long time against some teams you may recognize. Originally started with RCD Espanyol, Stonkers, Canyons, Vodafone Giants, and KCorp most recently, but has been primary coach on a lot of those, like Vodafone Giants, Karmine Corp, and then they recently brought in Eversax and have seen some of the results, as well as with the addition of Nolly. I feel like KCorp is pretty happy with Eversax and his results, therefore they don't need the support staff as well, and could be a potential here. Not sure the exact details on if this is him wanting to leave and Francisco's wanting to go pick up and be the main coach on another roster or otherwise, or KCorp realizing, hey, we've got one coach, that's good enough. So I'm interested to see on where he ends up. He's obviously been in the space, especially over in Europe, for quite a while now, when you're talking all the way back since like 2019. So hopefully finding a mainstay gig here in the future as another coach, going to be put on the back burner and going to have to find a new home. Last but not least, a bigger organization that has had really rough results this season. We talked about the releasing and the let going of their roster, but Burns over on eUnited, if you guys do not know Burns, the VP of esports and the GM over there, does put out a Rocket League eUnited update stating, hey, after a lot of deliberation, they're making the decision to actually exit Rocket League altogether. A lot of times you hear a lot of these organizations state, hey, we're going to take a step back. We'll be back, though. Don't worry for the next season. Some promises. Hey, we're coming back. But with eUnited taking the official step away, they say the Rocket League community has a special place in our heart, from working with numerous talent to sitting on the edge of our seats for qualifying matches. They've never failed to entertain our staff to extreme lengths. Fondest memory will always be acquiring the Birds and the Bees in 2019 and immediately viewing their run to qualify Madrid, Spain. That was back when they were WYLDE and Crew. They ended up placing, I think, top 8, top 6, something like that. And ever since then, and having a lot of success, it's been kind of a downward trend for eUnited, unfortunately. It states, though we are departing, Rocket League will continue to thrive and grow, and we look forward to the opportunity of returning in the future. wishing a lot of previous players and staff best fortune in their future endeavors. So again, this is something that is articulated intelligently. While eUnited is not going to be in Rocket League anymore, as an organization, you never want to really call it quits. They understand the benefits and the potential that Rocket League has, but as of right now, getting involved, probably not the best idea. So they may take a step back, kind of see how the scene does. Maybe it develops a little bit. Maybe they see some refinement for this next season, and there is an opportunity where a up-and-coming roster looks pretty dang solid, and they're like, you know what, we can get in for pretty minimal cost. Let's do it. So don't count them out. It's just going to take more of a step back officially, rather than something like WYLDE, where we just talked about, where they do have intentions to come back immediately if they find a roster. So not immediate on eUnited's docket, but don't count it out just yet. Maybe we see eUnited return sooner than later. I know Potts and those guys really do enjoy Rocket League and love it a lot. So it'll be interesting to see on how that develops. Again, lots of RLCS changes that are going to be happening more and more probably in the next month here, I would assume, but I figure we should give you probably one last roster update before Dallas hits and we focus all in on that. So with that said, if you guys do enjoy the content, or if there's any other roster things you guys have heard about, let me know in the comments down below. Any that you think are surprising or ones that you hope end up going in a certain way. Always curious to hear your thoughts and opinions. But with that, it's going to do it for today's video. As always, comments and like do help with the video. If you can do so, it is greatly appreciated, as well as hitting subscribe and turning on notifications. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.